You're listening to FNIQ Radio. The FNIQ Radio Show is free to our members-only audience. During the show, you can expect to learn more about how F&I works in the store, how to get more deals bought, have cleaner deals, and most importantly, how to make and keep more profit in your department. FNIQ Radio is brought to you by our sponsors and is a product of the Consader Corporation. All rights reserved. Rebroadcast, republication, or duplication of this material is prohibited without expressed written consent of Consader Corporation.
Today we're going to talk about customers that make stupid choices. Now, I've been a trainer since 1999. I've worked in over 600 dealerships all across the U.S. and Canada during that period of time. And one of the most common frustrations that I've seen from F&I managers stem from customers that elect stupid choices over logical ones. So we're going to talk about a framework to help you with those customers today. And you know the customers I'm talking about. You know, you're doing a loan for somebody and you're at 150, 160% LTV, some kind of astronomical number because the customer was flipped over, and you're telling them about gap insurance. And they're tuning you out. They don't want to listen to what you have to say. They don't even know what it is. And this happens on warranties and other products too, when it's really logical and intelligent to probably have the product. Moreover, at least to get the data to make a determination if the product's right for you. But the customer doesn't do that. The customer's sitting across from you, and they don't want to have any of what you have to say. You pull out your menu or you begin your presentation, they go, no, I never buy any of that stuff. That customer. Okay. So how do we get through to that customer? Well, we have to educate them on the difference between the lowest payment and the best payment. Now, in order to do that, we have to define our terms. What is the lowest payment? Very simply, the lowest payment is the lowest possible payment. Now, how do we get there? Well, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to stretch out the term, right? I mean, if it's 60 months is available, we're going to take it. 72 months, 84 months, 96 months, whatever's available to us, we're going to stretch it out because the customer wants the lowest payment. And the customer is going to skip over all kinds of financial protection options, right? I mean, none of these things are really good ideas. When we do that, we're setting our customer up for higher finance charges, additional negative equity, and potential economic hardship. All right, and we don't want that. You know, when we do that, we're taking that customer out of the market for us or anyone else in the future. You know, we're creating a situation where it's going to be harder on them. So what we want to do is we want to focus on the best payment. What is the best payment? It's the payment that is designed to create equity and prevent economic hardship. An example of the best payment would be using the term that has the lowest interest rate available. The lowest finance charge comes along with having the lowest interest rate. A comprehensive service contract, some appearance protection, and gap if needed, right? Basically, having the best payment means making intelligent choices, choices that are going to create the best ownership experience for your customer. Now, sometimes this can be difficult. Sometimes your customers are so focused on a low payment that they tune out anything that you say, right? We know that. They're scared of the best payment. And when they should really be scared of a breakdown, gap, negative equity, financial hardships, economic devastation. But instead of that, they're worried about $20 or $30 a month. I mean, they got 30 days to come up with $20 or $30 or $40, whatever it is. But instead of thinking about it like that, they're thinking about keeping the payment low and not thinking about the reality of having to come up with $2,000 or $3,000 right now, which, as we all know, is very difficult. People live check to check. Not everybody, half the people. But then the other half have very little in savings anyway. So when you have a major breakdown or you have a gap claim or something like that, it can be economically devastating anyway because most people don't have more than 30 days worth of savings. So what we want to do is focus on how to get across to these customers. There's 3 steps to it. Step 1 is try to help. Trying to help comes across exactly as it sounds. You want to help. trying to sell also comes across exactly as it sounds. When you're trying to sell somebody, you work on overcoming their objections, right? I mean, that's what we're taught in F&I school. Typically, this is done with word tracks that are designed to move the customer towards making a purchase. The problem is, many times, word tracks sound like canned sales presentations, or worse, fear-mongering. See, it's a huge turnoff to people. Instead of trying to sell, try to help. You try and help by discussing economic habits and how the customer will benefit from having peace of mind, improved value of their car, safety, economic stability, and etc. In short, we want to make our conversation about them. Remember, selling is about you. When you're selling, you're thinking about your profit or your PVR, your penetration. Can I get this warranty? Can I hold this rate, etc., etc., etc. You're thinking about you. And when you're thinking about you, you're not thinking about them. So when we're helping them, we're thinking about them. And helping creates higher commissions and higher penetration. See, when we're helping somebody recognize the value in the products that we have to offer, we're getting them closer to buying. And when they buy, we earn commissions, right? So this is where our focus needs to be, on creating solutions for the customer, real solutions. And when they adopt those real solutions, we get paid. It happens organically. Not only that, the customer realizes that they made a good decision, so you're not going to see the chargeback. You're going to have better satisfaction. This is our goal. So, number one, we want to try and help. Number two, we're going to focus on communication. Now, there are a couple things to keep in mind with your customer. One, they could be very nervous about a payment that's higher than they expected or higher than they wanted, right? Yeah, that happens all the time. Another thing is, customers might be distrustful towards salespeople. I mean, that's what we are, right? We're salespeople. We need to camouflage that a little bit by becoming sales consultants, by being focused on our customer. And that helps people let down their guard a little bit. So, there's a language of helping, there's a language of selling, like we were talking about a moment ago. In order to get there, we need to communicate with them in a way that they will open up and listen to us, and that comes from having good intent. If our intent is about helping them, then they're going to respond to it by tuning in and listening. If our intent is about selling them, then they're going to tune out and withdraw. So we don't want that. And when customers are nervous or distrustful, they feel unsafe. And when people feel unsafe, their thoughts are inward, and it's not at all on the spirit of your words. It's on the spirit of what they're thinking, which is to tune you out, which is to avoid things that feel unsafe. It's not intentional, it's a primal situation, because the part of your brain that regulates data flow, called the amygdala, it determines whether things are safe or not. When something feels unsafe, the brain begins working on the fight or flight premise. So while you're chatting about the warranty, the customer's actually trying to decide whether they should argue or they should leave. Now, the best way to get through this is to be honest, is to speak the hard truth, but do it in the softest way possible. So, again, focusing on communication by saying things that are true, but being gentle about it. Saying, you came here, we both know that you were upside down in your car, right? Yeah? Okay. So, if you have a gap claim, I know it's uncomfortable to think about it. Most people don't have thousands of dollars set aside to handle that gap claim. Do you have thousands of dollars set aside for that? No, most people don't. So let's talk about a strategy that can help you so that you're not going to be economically devastated, so your credit's not going to be ruined, so that all the work that you put into rebuilding your credit and paying off this car, or keeping your credit good if the customer's good, doesn't get squandered because you have some kind of economic hardship. Gap's only a few dollars a month. Let's talk about that. Let me give you the data, and then if you think it's not right for you, then no problem. We don't have to do it. But I think that you find when you have all the data necessary, you're going to want to make sure that you have this protection. It's very valuable. It's about saying hard things in a soft way and having a real dialogue with the customer. So we want to focus on communication and get to the point where we can have a real dialogue with the customer. So number one, try to help. Number two, focus on communication. Number three, use balance framing. What does that mean? We want to talk about benefits and not just problems. According to prospect theory, look it up on Wikipedia, look it up on Google, when presented with a potential benefit, people often become risk adverse. They seek the benefit. So when we talk about the benefits of a service contract or gap insurance or appearance protection, people tend to seek those benefits. But when we talk about the problems associated with not having them, when we start giving the all cars break scenario, people adopt risky behavior, right? So when we talk about risk, people become risk seekers. Now, I'll give you an example of that. Imagine, and this doesn't apply to everyone, but it applies to a lot of people. Imagine that you're a poker player. And you went to the table, you went out with $1,000 to gamble, and you're down $950. What are the odds that you're going to go all in on a weak hand just to get out, just to end the pain, just to finish the game because you're sick and tired of it, because it's been going pretty bad, and you adopt this risky behavior and just say, I'm done? A lot of people do. A lot of people go in and they make stupid, irrational, illogical bets just to get out. It's human nature. You want to end the pain. Likewise, when you're talking to the customer about how all cars break, a lot of times they just adopt that risky behavior too, and they go, I'll risk it. I don't care. So we have to use balance framing and talk about the benefit as well as the risk. You know, when we're talking about the all cars break, I'll take my chances thing, man, that, you know, if that's your only close, you're going to have people that are tuning out and saying irrational things to you. The truth is, it's dysfunctional not to want the best warranty on anything. I'll repeat that. It is dysfunctional not to want the best warranty available on anything that you buy. You always want the best warranty available. You want the longest, strongest warranty available. I don't care what product you're buying. Everybody wants that. It would be illogical not to. But what happens? The customer adopts risky behavior. They say things like, oh, I never buy that crap. And it's irrational to say that when you don't have the data, when you don't know the cost, when you don't know the benefits, when you're not making an educated decision. But instead, they start tuning out your presentation, and they just frame you as a salesperson that's out to make a buck. Now, we can work through this by focusing our intent on providing products and services that are going to create a better ownership experience for the customer. When your intent is based on honesty and addressing benefits and solving problems and protecting investments and finances and helping them have a worry-free transaction, your products and your commissions, they occur organically. So what are the 3 steps again? 1, we want to try and help. 2, we want to focus on honest, transparent communication. And 3, we want to use balanced framing, not just talking about risk, but talking about benefits and risk in a way that we reduce risk and we maximize benefits so that people have a better experience all the way around. You see, in the end, it's important to remember that we want one thing. We want a win-win situation with you and your customer. You know, and you have to get to the other side of your customer's anxiety before they can accept the common sense proposal. And the only way to get there is through good intentions, because cynical, scared people are always going to tune you out. They're going to close down irrational communication. That's what people do when they're afraid. Reach out to me with your thoughts and ideas, and let's discuss them. Let's figure out what we can do to improve your numbers and to really kind of change the perception of car people in general. This is a noble profession. There's a lot of things that we do to create better experiences for customers. And it's up to me and you to change the stereotypes about the car business. Thanks again for listening. Take care.